Good morning, all of you. So, yesterday we were discussing about normalization. Normalization is there to remove redundancy from the tables. If you have a good ERD modeling will give you tables in without redundancy. That means normalization technique you need not use when you apply good ERD modeling. But if you think that the ERD diagrams are not good or you did not start with that, then you can go in for the normalization technique. Okay, normalization means removing redundancy, removing duplicates. Redundancy means duplicates. Okay, so we have first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, fourth normal form, BCNF, fifth normal form, like that. Even though you have many normal forms nowadays, IT industry is using first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, and they are not using remaining normal forms. They are going for denormalization concept. Okay, so what is the problem with normalization? The problem with the normalization is, you know uh, what is the normalization will do? Normalization will always, the advantages of normalization, let us understand. Normalization, the advantage with the normalization are, uh, it removes duplicates. It removes redundancy means duplicates. This is the good for the normalization. And when you remove the duplicates, definitely the maintenance will be very very easy. Then hard disk space is less used. Less hard disk space used. Okay, less hard disk space is used. Okay, so it creates many tables. Okay, it creates many tables, so that is not an advantage, that is disadvantage. Okay, less hard disk space and less maintenance. What is the maintenance? Maintenance means I need maintain the duplicate data. I have only one copy of the data, I can maintain. So all of them are the advantages. But what are the disadvantages for the normalization? Which creates multiple tables, or normalization concepts creates or splits you know data into multiple tables. Okay, because of this what happens is, joins are heavily used. Joins are heavily used to access the data. Okay, if you use joins heavily, then what happens? The performance will be reduced of the query. Performance. Okay, so performance is reduced. So that's what we're talking about. So let me just, okay. So what are the advantages? Normalization advantages are, it removes the duplicates. That is the good thing about normalization. And less hard disk space is used. This is also good thing about the normalization. And less maintenance. Why less maintenance? Because you will not be having duplicate data. So that is good for for you to maintain only a single copy of the data, because you don't have the duplicates. All of them are the advantages of normalization. So what are the disadvantages of normalization? It creates or splits data into multiple pages, multiple tables. So when you have multiple tables, the joins are heavily used to access the data from all tables. So performance is definitely is reduced. Performance is reduced. Okay, so only because of the last point, what is that? Performance is reduced of a query. So when you retrieve the data, if retrieval is take lots of time, definitely people will hate our application. Will not be considered as a good application. Because of this disadvantage, then people will say, let me go back to my original state. What is original state? That is known as a denormalization concept. Okay, denormalization concept. What is the meaning of denormalization concept? Denormalization concept is used, adding redundancy knowingly. So you know that you are adding, but what is the purpose? The purpose is I have to increase the performance. Adding redundancy knowingly is known as, okay, is known as denormalization. So you add redundancy. How do you add the redundancy? You may use anything. You may, merge the data. For example, you have six tables now. You may, make it as four tables, or you may make it as three tables. Okay, this is the what is known as a denormalization. What is the purpose of denormalization? The advantage for the denormalization would be, it increase the performance. So this is advantage, increase the performance of a query. But what are the disadvantages? So which will create duplicates. It adds the, duplicates. Because of adding duplicates, what happens? The hard disk space is, more. Okay, then definitely maintenance is high. If you have duplicates, you need to maintain the data. Okay, maintenance is high. Even though everything is high, we have duplicate data in the hard disk, then that is okay for me, because I have to give the data quickly. I have to, concentrate on the user. So that's where, the denormalization concept became so, useful nowadays, because denormalization will, increase the performance. That means which will reduce the splits, which will reduce the number of, tables. So if you have six tables, they may, merge it as a three tables. So not only merge, they may do anything, but the, the reason behind the technique is you have to improve the performance. For improving performance, you need to use denormalization. Denormalization is knowingly you're adding redundancy, is is known as a denormalization. Okay, so let us understand what all we can do with denormalization. So yesterday we had taken this case study and understood, how to, use one table approach. Then we had split it, then applied first normal form. Then again we have applied for the second normal form, eliminated partial dependency. Then, we have eliminated non-key attributes. This is third, and all of them we discussed yesterday. So we got, six tables yesterday. So when you have the six tables, when I ask a query saying that what is the total amount for purchase order number 1001, so we have to go for, master and get the data, and if I go to purchase order details, get some data, go to item master, get the data. So you have to revisit all the tables and join, merge using filtering, blah blah blah. You will be giving the answer. But if you want to filter everything today, it will be okay, because you will have only one purchase order. But tomorrow, or, after 5 years, your database will have thousands or crores of rows. But if you issue the same query, it's going to take lots of time. So performance is reduced. When the performance is reduced of an application, then people will throw the application out. That's when people will say, no, 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 I don't want to, have these many tables. Let me apply a denormalization technique. So normalization will create, many tables, and these are the rules for the normalization. There is a problem of normalization is which will create multiple tables. Because of the multiple tables, many joins you have to use. Because of the many joins, multiple joins, the performance is decreased. So increase the performance, you have to go in for the denormalization. So denormalization is known as a control dependency. You may have following techniques to apply denormalization. You may have computed columns. You may have splitting columns. You may have merging columns. You may have consolidation of data, duplication of data, splitting records, merging records, anything. It is not only merging, you may want to split also records. You may use any technique. All these techniques are denormalization techniques to improve the performance. Let me understand computed columns technique. So how do you improve the performance? So let me take a item table. So I have item number, then I have item name, then I have price. Okay, then quantity I have. So let me just to understand this. Now say I have item number one, pen. Say the pen, price is 12 rupees. We have this much of quantity. Okay, I have two, say pencil. The pencil cost is say uh, 31 rupees. We have these many pencils. Okay, and say I have duster. Okay, duster cost is say 50 rupees. We have these many, this much of the quantity. We have here say water bottles. Okay, each bottle is say this is the this one. So we have this much. Okay, so like that today I have only 5 rows. Then my boss is asking and coming, hey Bhaskar, what is the total amount, you know see the table and find out what is that total amount we may have, because I'll get the amount by looking the price into quantity I'll get. So what is that? If you apply this command to the SQL server, so you will say select price into quantity. That's what you write in your the database. So what is that you will write? This is the query you're going to write it. Select price into quantity from item table. That's what you write as total. Okay. So when you say price into quantity, what will happen? You will get only the price into quantity, but that is not sufficient. Then you need to add everything and you need to add total it up. Okay. So when we have these kind of queries, let me go here. And let me go here and understand. When you say price into quantity, you will get some figure, say X rupees. And you say price into quantity, you will say some Y rupees. Okay. Then you will say this into this, you will come have some Z rupees. Then you will have this into this, you may say some A rupees. Then you need to take all the data, say that this is the total. You may have some XYZ rupees. Okay. Then you go to first row, take this into this, go to second row, this into this, go to third row, this into this, go to fourth row, this into this. We can do this query. This is very fast because we have only 4 queries today. This will give you a total. Okay, but tomorrow I may have I may have lots of data. I may have say 1 crore or 10 millions of data, 10 crores of data here. So definitely the database is increased. The size of the database is increased a lot. I have lots and lots of data here. So what is that I will do? If you have lots and lots of data, if you apply the same query, go to first row, this into this, go to second row, this into this, go to third row, this into this, go to fourth row, this into this, go to fifth row, this into this. Definitely there is a huge time it's going to be taken by SQL Server. But how do I increase the performance? Then some people will say add RAM. No, add RAM or format the hard disk, or you will give Windows 7. You all of them will not give the solution. Only one solution you can have is a computed column. Here say total. Total is a computed column. Here you need to have small formula saying that price into quantity. You need to apply this formula. So when you fill the data here, automatically what happens is this into this would happen. The automatically the data will get calculated automatically in the SQL Server table. Okay, so automatically now when you ask the next time what is the total, you need not go in for this into this into this into this into this. You can straight away go to this column and get the what is the total. So straight away go here and get it here. So the total is this much. That means what? Instead of doing price into quantity, you will need to create another column. The column is a computed column which will take price into quantity. And now when somebody asks what is the total value of our items, so you need not worry about this. You have to take all these need to be just so you have to summarize it, then say so this is what is our figure. Okay. Now this column is creating a computed column will give you lots of performance for the query. So even though this is extra column, why this is extra column? Even though you have price and quantity, you are again calculating and keeping it here. This is not necessary, because you can get when you have price and quantity, you can get this item. Why is that you are calculating and storing the value also in the as part of the database? Because tomorrow if somebody asks me the quantity, the total value, I need not go in for this into this into this into this. That step can be ignored. That means straight away you come here and you have to get the value. This is the technique by which you can understand or the improve the performance known as a computed column. Okay. Now, what is the example for splitting columns? What is the splitting columns? Have you any time understood why is that employee ID, employee people will say first name, first name and the last name like that? Anytime did you understand why people are storing the data like this? Or simply they're storing, is it? It is not simply they're storing. Or if you take address column, why people will not store entire address in a single address column? They'll say street number, town name, city name, okay, mandal name, district name, state, pin code, country, all of them. Why people would split and store the data? Why can't they keep entire data in a single field? Or why many people will not give full name? They say first name, middle name, last name, because they splitting the records to improve the performance. Why is that? What is that performance they increase tomorrow? They increase the performance by splitting, because for example I would like to search for Jogi, the people whose name ends with Jogi, or name who starts with say Bhaskar, or starts with say Kiran. So if we have the record splitted, then definitely I need not read entire data to find out the Jogi. For example, I would like to read entire, I would like to find out Jogis as a end name. If I store entire data in a full name, what happens is I need to read complete string, then in last, nothing will be there. But again, go to the second row. Second row, also you have stored as a complete name as a full name in a single this one. So that means I need to read entire data to find out Jogi here. So I'll read this row, Jogi is not there. I'll read this row, Jogi is not there. I'll read this row, Jogi is not there. I'll read this row. So I'm unnecessarily reading entire row to find out the Jogi. But if I say the data is stored like this here, so what happens tomorrow? I need not you know go to this and simply come here and read. So if there is Jogi, then definitely this retrieval will be very very fast. Okay. Or whose name starts with EP, or whose name starts with S or K, like that. That means when you split the record, definitely I need not read entire data to find whether Jogi is available in the string or not. Or if I would like to retrieve data for people who belongs to Andhra Pradesh or people who belongs to India, if address is stored in a single value, then you need to read street number, town number, everything you have to read. At last you may have country or you may not have country. If there is no country, definitely searching would be very very slow. Only because of the reason why people would split the data and create first name, middle name, last name, or address, state, district, like that. So that tomorrow if you want to search for only state equals to Andhra Pradesh or district equals to Vizag, then you can easily go in for that row, then you can do the search condition. Search will be faster. Because of that, you split the rows. Okay. You may merge it or you may split it, but anything you do, that is the denormalization technique. Okay. Whether you do splitting or merging or creating another column, whatever you do, everything is known as a denormalization techniques. Okay. Denormalization will give you the performance. Denormalization techniques are used heavily in the SSAS or OLAP servers. OLTP will have normalization. OLAP will have denormalization. Why denormalization? OLAP, the reads are more. Okay. When you have reads are more, denormalization is best. When you have writing, normalization is the best. Okay. So OLTP will have what is known as a OLTP will have lots of writings. Okay. OLAP will have lot of reading. So here you have writings are more than the readings. Here readings are more than the writings. So normalization technique is useful in OLTP. Okay, you have to be very clear. Normalization is used in OLTP heavily. So OLAP will have the denormalization because lots of reading will be there. Okay. So if you want to retrieve the data, then definitely I need to have good this one, then always we have to go in for OLAP. OLAP will have the denormalization. Because of the denormalization, what happens is it will be faster. Okay, OLTP will have less indexes. Okay, OLAP will have huge number of indexes because always which will read the data. Okay, so all these, few things you need to understand. Normalization is a good concept in OLTP only. We have to be very clear. And OLAP will have denormalization concept. OLTP will have lots of writings. OLAP will have, lots of readings. When you have reading the data, that's where the indexes are, you need to maintain heavy. Then you need to maintain, the normalization data. Okay, so you need to aggregate the data and keep it. So the computed columns, the everything will be available in SSAS. So OLTP will not be having this kind of rules. Denormalization is more suitable for, when you have lots of readings. Okay, then merging columns, consolidation of data and information, duplication of data, splitting records, merging records, whatever you do, that is only one goal you have, that is I have to improve the performance. Okay, so all these techniques are used to improve the performance, but whatever be the technique, you may, maintain a copy of the data, or you may keep another copy of the data, or you may, split the data, merge the data, or partition the data. All these are techniques which are used to improve the access, the performance of the query or the view or the procedure or a function or a system. Okay, if the system performance is bad, definitely people will give you the bad ratings. Okay, for the business. So definitely it is more important that your system has to be very, very faster. So because of that, denormalization technique is now rocking than the normalization. But normalization is mostly used when in the OLTP systems. In OLAP systems, denormalization techniques are used. Okay, I given you a few examples so that you could understand what is a denormalization and why we have to go in for normalization and denormalization. Clear? So this is the complete topic for why people have to go in for normalization, why people have to go in for the denormalization. Normalization, there are many normal forms, but IT industry uses only three. Normalization is good for OLTP, because OLTP will have lots of writings. When the data is writing, you need to check the duplicates and all. So normalization is suitable for only OLTP. Normalization will create or will split data into multiple pages, multiple tables. Because of that, you have to, use joins. Because of joins, what happens? Normalization, technique will give less performance when you read the data. So to to avoid that, we have to use denormalization. Denormalization will merge the data, so which will give less number of tables, so less joins, automatically high performance. Okay, so then only you have to go in for denormalization. Okay. So, what is first normal form? What is second normal form? People would ask in interviews, and they'll ask you to, straight away, give an example, and they'll ask you to explain. You have to be very clear on this. Okay. So, this is what is a normalization and denormalization technique we discussed. Okay. So, any questions you have? So, thanks, guys.